fleshies. Some of us are interested in Halloween 3. Some may spend the rest of their lives trying to understand it. Films such as this will affect your opinion on all Halloween films. Are you interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable? That is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing a zombie's point of view of Halloween 3 based on a few dozen article theories and a sweaty, nervous account from Mr. Lobo. So, in honor of those who support this third Halloween film, it can no longer be kept a secret anymore. Let us punish the naysayers and let us reward the fans. My friend, can your heart stand the shocking facts surrounding silver shamrocks, reverse Shatner masks, and magical Stonehenge bits from an ancient land? Are you willing to give Halloween 3 a chance?
Now, if you're not afraid of something a little out of the ordinary,
vampires, werewolves, ghouls, ghosts, mummies that come back to life after 3,000 years, the magic moments of terror.
You don't really know much about Halloween. Halloween. The barriers will be down between the real and the unreal. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red. Halloween, the children.
You happen to know anything about this Cochran?
All I can tell you, mister, is watch out. He's watching you, friend, I guarantee you that.
Trick or treat, trick or treat.
Hey, Mr. Cochran, just what is the final process?
I want a mask. Can I have a mask?
Just what I had in mind for you, little buddy. Why, Cochran? Why? Do I need a reason?
I've got nothing here to indicate there was ever a body at all.
Operator, this is an emergency.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home. Halloween, Season of the Witch.
Oh! What is this place?
Just sit there. Stay there until I'm ready with you.
Oh, gosh, this place is horrible. It smells bad and... Oh, who's that? Oh my God, how long have you been waiting here? Oh, hi there. Fleshies? I guess I'm here to help Sally with her Halloween special.
That's right. It's my Halloween special, and I need your help.
Sally, it'd be a lot easier to help you if you actually told Mr. Lobo what we're supposed to discuss.
Just pay attention. I just told you. Sit in my green room until I tell you to talk.
Sally, this is not a green room. It's damp, it smells bad. I don't know what this is.
Just sit there and wait until it's your turn, okay?
Wait till my turn? This is terrifying. I don't want to be here. At least you took the blindfold off.
All right, okay. Where did I put my snack? I have to eat before I shoot or else I get hungry and I get in trouble.
Did you say hungry?
Hey, Michael, I've got some food here. It's finger food. You might like it. What do you mean you don't eat fingers? What? Oh. Hey, Sally the Zombie Cheerleader here, and I have an important topic I'd like to discuss.
No.
No, well, it's not Halloween. Oh, wait, the franchise is called Halloween, which takes place on Halloween, so Anyway, welcome to Sally's special about the Halloween films which take place on Halloween. Halloween special!
My theory is that when it comes to important subjects, there's only two ways a person can answer. Which way they choose tells you who that person is. For instance, there's only two kinds of people in the world. Beatles people and Elvis people. Now, Beatles people can like Elvis, and Elvis people can like Beatles, but nobody likes them both equally. Somewhere, you have to make a choice, and that choice tells you who you are. Well, now, I'm obviously not going to ask you that one, because you're definitely an Elvis man.
All right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Anyway, I opened with the Pulp Fiction clip because I thought it was relevant to my Halloween special. Oh, hold on. I was getting ready to explain. Anyway, in the Pulp Fiction clip, Mia Wallace talks to Vincent Vega about the Beatles fleshies versus Elvis fleshies. Well, in a nutshell, you can like both, just not equally. And that's a fair assessment. I like the Beatles and Elvis, but I prefer the Beatles over Elvis.
Now.
Hey, I was just being honest. And of course you're an Elvis cat. Anyway, back to that Pulp Fiction clip. Well, okay, Sally, why did you show that clip? Well, once upon a time, way back in 1982, a new Halloween film was released, and the Halloween-verse exploded with controversy caused by the third Halloween film. You know that third film released after Michael Myers was shot, blown up, and burned, along with that iconic mask? And why did the fans of Halloween generally lose their minds over the third film? Well, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It didn't have Michael Myers. Well, Michael Myers was killed off in the second film. And instead of getting another installment of Michael Myers, we got a movie called Halloween about Halloween. Or more specifically, Samhain, which is what... Anyway, the film had witchcraft, Stonehenge particles, snakes, bugs, children, planets, shamrock-shaped microchips, and cyborg android killer fleshies, but no Michael Myers. Hello? Once again, Michael Myers was killed off in the second Halloween film, and he was killed off on purpose. More on that later. Also, the franchise is called Halloween and not the Michael Myers Project. Anyway, Halloween 3 received poor reviews. It was too different, too Halloweeny, Samhainy, and full of sci-fi silliness. Well, which didn't sit well with most moviegoers because, well, there was no Michael Myers. And about 6-ish years later, Halloween 4 is released with Michael Myers back from the dead. Ah, movie magic. Yay! So doesn't that make Michael Myers inhuman? Well, maybe possessed or magical? Well, if he came back from the dead, he's not a regular fleshy. Oh, and the same for his mask, since it burned up in the second film. Or maybe he stole another one, who knows? Anyway, you now have a magical killing machine with another mask back from the dead looking for relatives to slaughter. And babysitters too. All right, but before we go too far down the Season of the Witch versus Michael Myers rabbit hole, welcome, fleshies, to Sally's Halloween Special, or let's all give Halloween 3 Season of the Witch a chance. That's right, fleshies, and just like Beatles or Elvis fleshies, you can like both. It's okay not to like them equally. Well, for some fleshies. And since I consider this a misunderstood film, I thought I'd enlist the help of the great and powerful Mr. Lobo of Cinema Insomnia, that's OSI 74, you can see the links here, to help me explain Halloween 3 and its misunderstood reputation.
Well, this is one of the most scary Halloweens that Mr. Lobo has ever had. I can hear Sally talking about one of my favorite Halloween films, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and it is a misunderstood movie. You know, I think that the first Halloween was so popular, and the Michael Myers character, I think represented a lot of teenage angst for a lot of fans in the 80s. It's like the Eddie character on the Iron Maiden albums. People would, you know, draw them on their binder while they're, hating their parents. But honestly, the original intention with those movies was quite different. The first story was the babysitter murders, and when they were done doing the first Halloween story with the babysitter murders, they wanted to continue with a totally different story, and they were going to do an anthology with a different Halloween theme every single year, and that would have been awesome. Unfortunately, the first Halloween film was a phenomenon. And because it was a phenomenon, the studio demanded a sequel, which John Carpenter really didn't want. So they ended up proceeding with a second movie. And they killed off the character for that very reason, so that they could proceed with their third movie that wasn't received very well. But speaking of things not sitting well, I'm not sitting well right here. I mean, I don't know what this is. I really don't know what this is. I don't want to know what this is. Oh, but I like this.
Halloween 3 has had mixed reviews over the years. Well, mainly because many fleshies don't consider it part of the Halloween canon. Well, despite the phenomenal success at the box office for the first film, John Carpenter killed off Michael Myers, well, supposedly ending Michael Myers' involvement after the second Halloween. And Michael's death was genuinely overkill at its finest. Michael had been stabbed, shot, blinded, set on fire, and even blown up. Well, he's dead now. He's an ex-boogeyman. The shape is no more. There is absolutely no way he's coming back, right? Well, why? Why did they bring Michael Myers back? Well, no fleshy predicted Halloween would be a smashing success, and Carpenter and Hill never envisioned a Halloween sequel, well, let alone a franchise. All right, Mr. Lobo, it's your turn.
My turn. Halloween, right? You're talking about Halloween 3. Yeah, well, they wanted to do a franchise. They wanted to have basically an anthology where wouldn't that have been wonderful? Every Halloween we got a different cutting-edge horror story, and that first babysitter murder story with Michael Myers was very cutting-edge. It became the template for many horror films to come later. And for the story that they had planned, which would have originally been the second film for Halloween, the Halloween 3 story, Season of the Witch story, that was really showing where the future of horror was going. It was really reflecting what was happening in horror, like with movies like Phantasm, where you've got this sci-fi element coming in and this sort of weird mystical element coming in. And I think that, the Phantasm movies were great, but we only got a few of those. We didn't quite get enough Phantasm movies, and since all the Halloween fans, Michael Myers fans, don't really like Halloween 3, and it's even left out of some of the box sets. I mean, why don't we just move Halloween 3 over to the Phantasm films? We could just call it Phantasm 65000, and then maybe people would, have a better appreciation for that movie. But I think it would have been great if we had a different cutting-edge horror film every single season. Wouldn't that have been nice? Sally, how did I do? Did you find your snack?
Perfect, Mr. Lobo. And no, I didn't. I'm starving. I'll just have to wait until after the show now.
Oh, no.
And Mr. Lobo is correct. The series had to continue, but John Carpenter and Debra Hill still wanted to do a series of one-off stories that, if successful enough, could spawn mini franchises of their own.
To spawn. Peekaboo.
Stop that! Anyway, it was a bold new idea at the time. Who would think of doing an anthology horror series where each movie is conceived as a self-contained miniseries?
Now what am I gonna do with you?
I mean, what a risky idea. I can't see that working at all. Well, the third Halloween resulted from this concept, and it was very Michael Myers-less. Anyway, it was a good idea that unfortunately had a catastrophic result at the box office. Legions of Halloween fans who merely wanted to see Myers turn up to butcher oodles of buxom babysitters were left angry and confused.
What? What?
Oh, and it's not entirely accurate to say that Halloween 3 failed at the box office. It still took in $14 million, and it was produced on a budget of about $2.5 million. But, however, it was loathed by many Halloween fans. The reason? Again, no Michael Myers. The plot was a sci-fi horror film that many fleshies weren't prepared for or expected. This was, after all, a Halloween film. Fleshies wanted to know where the boogeyman was, and, well, Michael Myers was eliminated, as Carpenter and Hill felt the character was played out by the end of the second Halloween film, and ultimately decided to remove Michael Myers from the franchise.
Fantastic. My name's Bobby, and we're going to be best friends. Bobby and Robbie.
Hey, Mr. Lobo! It's your turn now, and stop touching my stuff!
What else am I supposed to do? I'm in this weird place. This is not a green room, by the way. It's a weird, strange place talking about Halloween. I guess we're still talking about Halloween 3. Well, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I think their big misstep in the franchise, if they were going to introduce another movie, no one was expecting the first Halloween, but everyone was expecting a sequel to Halloween 2. So I think that if they had just called it Halloween Season of the Witch and dropped the Roman numeral 3, I think they would have had a better go of it. I think in Europe they released it that way, where it's just Halloween Season of the Witch. I know some fans even said just call it Season of the Witch, but I think if it was, they still could have kept Halloween in there. It's just Roman numerals. Well, it gets really sticky once you get into the Roman numerals. I feel like that's what happened with the Star Wars movies. Honestly, I feel like they should have never gone into the episode 1, episode 2. Even the episode 4 thing is a mistake. Let every movie stand on its own, and the first one you see is always your first one. You know, even in the first Star Wars, we didn't even start from the beginning. We started from the middle and went sideways. You know, all the James Bond movies don't have Roman numerals. So, I don't know. But the important thing to remember is...
That's right, Mr. Lobo. Well, there may have been plans for an anthology series, but the shape wasn't going to shuffle off its mortal coils so quickly, and fans let the producers know, well, by not showing up for the film. Sadly, it was the first and last film to deviate from the Michael Myers story.
Stop it! Stop it!
Actually, Halloween 3 is not a bad film. It has a more suspenseful sci-fi element to the film, rather than just being a straight horror slasher movie. And had this film been released under the Season of the Witch title, well, the reception to it may have been warmer. Well, however, it's also highly probable that not as many fleshies would have gone to see it. Who knows? Well, actually, I think the anthology idea would have been successful had they tried to separate Halloween 3 and the anthology idea in one direction, and then released future Halloween movies with Michael Myers as another branch of the Halloween series. Two directions under the same title would have given chances for both elements of each film to cross over. Well, more on that later.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever.
And despite the belly aching over the third film and John Carpenter's wishes, the franchise continued with Michael Myers taking the helm. But fans of the third film looked for connections to the Michael Myers films in the series. Devoted fans of Halloween 3 wanted the film to claim its rightful place in the Halloween franchise. Well, it was, after all, supposed to be an anthology. What's that? Oh, that's right, fleshies. It's time for fan theories, and there are some fascinating ones out there. Now, Sally read her fair share of Halloween 3 fan theories, and she thinks she found a logical explanation, well, from a zombie's point of view.
Ooh, hey, I got one. What about me?
Not yet. Anyway, officially Halloween 3 is something of a meta-sequel. Well, we see the original Halloween playing on a television during a bar scene. Check it out. It's kind of like the bar scene. Anyway, any attempt to place those two films in the same universe is thrown out the window. However, in many horror franchises, you need to ignore some aspects of a previous movie for the later films to make sense. Well, you can do that here. The Halloween movies have already gone there. And a good example is the Laurie Strode on and off again sibling relationship with Michael Myers.
Wasn't it her brother who murdered all those babysitters?
No, it was not her brother. That's something that people made up.
That Halloween clip on the TV playing in the background of the bar scene? Well, you can explain that away by inserting the notion that the movie they're watching was one of those based on a true story dramatizations of a rampaging homicidal babysitter murderer. And, well, it's not perfect, but it'll do. Stop that! Now that we have an explanation for the Halloween clip, we can get on with Sally's theory. And full disclosure, my theory is based on the most popular fan theories involving supernatural and super science elements.
Meow, 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 meow.
Yeah, that's an actual phrase. It is super science.
Weird science.
Yeah, really, this has nothing to do with weird science. Well, maybe it does. Anyway, Halloween 3 has both elements.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Stop that! Boy, you guys are on a roll tonight. You know, one day I'll figure out who's doing that. Anyway, on the supernatural side, you have the stolen Stonehenge rock particles with a mysterious power. On the super scientific side, you have lifelike killer androids or cyborgs. So, how do you justify or prove a supernatural connection between Silver Shamrock and Michael Myers? Well, that can be explained by the excellent 6th Halloween film featuring the Cult of Thorn plot. The supernatural and super science theories connect Conal Cochran and Silver Shamrock to the Thorn cult from the 6th film. You also have fleshies with the same last name, Blankenship. Well, they're involved in films 3 and 6. Think about it. So, when we left Michael at the end of the 2nd film, he had no eyes, and he was on fire after being blown up real good. Well, that seems like a pretty final demise, right? Well, when his story picks up again in the 4th film, his eyes are all better and he doesn't look like someone left the Sunday joint cooking all night. Well, what happened? Well, if you remember from the 3rd film, Silver Shamrock Novelties make 2 things. Halloween masks that turn your brain into bugs and snakes, and they made killer androids, or, well, cyborgs that look really human and like to kill. Well, I just want to call them cyborgs because, well, they're cyborgs.
He hears the voice, you know, just like the other boy that lived in that house.
What are you talking about?
I was babysitting with him that night. Little Mikey Myers that lived across the street. And that's when the voice came. The night he murdered his sister.
Michael heard a voice?
It told him to kill his family.
You know what? I'm not going to say anything. Maybe it'll just stop. Anyway, so some fans think Michael Myers, after the 2nd film, is a Silver Shamrock mask-wearing cyborg. And this directly links the Cult of Thorn led by Wynn in Illinois with the branch run by Cochran in California. Oh, can you imagine the conversation between the Illinois chapter and the California chapter? Hey, Dr. Wynn, Conal here from the California chapter. Listen, our cyborg critter died in a fire. Do you think you can send us a new one? Hello? Hello? How do they do that?
You don't really know much about Halloween.
Well, the problem with the cyborg-only theory is when Michael returns in part 4, there is clear evidence of burns on his body. Oh, and I don't think they replaced him. Michael Myers has to be an evil entity or cyborg made of flesh and blood under the influence of a supernatural force. Well, this force required him to kill. And the force also gives Michael plausible regenerative abilities, making him virtually indestructible. So is Michael Myers a mix of supernatural and super science? Oh, sorry about that. Sadly, Mikey is out of commission for a while after the second film. Well, after all, he needs to regenerate his eyes, skin, lungs, eardrums, and other fleshy bits.
He likes it! Hey, Mikey!
Anyway, it was a big explosion with a lot of fire. In the meantime, Cochran still thinks he needs something to satisfy their Celtic deities. And since he was so pleased with Michael's killing spree, Cochran continues with the mask idea. He even places a TV spot of the Shape's homicidal rampage as an inside joke in Halloween 3. Hey, don't laugh. Well, yes, I am going somewhere with this, I think. Anyway, now back to the supernatural part and the mask. Another fan theory suggests that the clown mask Michael was wearing the night he killed his sister was made by Silver Shamrock, and it was a beta test of sorts, which is why he suddenly became a killer. So, we now have two supernatural masks. And you know, we should consider both of them beta test masks. Oh, and I'd like to add a little side note to reinforce the magical mask theory. Remember when Jamie Lloyd, Laurie Strode's daughter and Michael's niece, touched Michael Myers' hand towards the end of Halloween 4, you know, when they were all still related? Well, she too becomes a murderer in the end. No! No! So, was it trauma brought on by the horrors of the night that caused Jamie to go all stabby? Or was there some kind of evil transfer from Michael to the girl? Well, Jamie is, after all, connected and mysteriously drawn to Michael Myers throughout the movie. And if that doesn't firm up the evil Shamrock mask beta theory, well, I don't know what will. Oh, and of course Laurie was eventually cut out of the Halloween canon as Michael's sister, throwing all those ideas about Jamie and Laurie out the window, so who knows?
Come on, Sally, that's enough. My turn, finally, please.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, all right, so fan theories. Okay, there's the movie Halloween and then in Halloween 3. Now, how is there a movie inside the movie and it could be in the same universe? My feeling is that maybe there was a movie before the event even happened, because there was a mask. You make a movie, and then you make a mask of the movie, and then Michael Myers takes the mask and then does the same thing that happens in the movie. It could happen, you know? He's a copycat, perhaps. That's a kind of an interesting idea. Or another idea could be that, of course, the Silver Shamrock, they have this whole thing that every Halloween or Samhain, they do their whole Celtic bloodletting, right? Maybe the clown was the first bloodletting, you know, and then they did a number of years afterwards and went, okay, all right, that worked okay. How about that wasn't very efficient? We only killed one person that time. Okay, a little bit later, we have the other mask, the Shatner mask. Okay, we let that go, and then that happens, and then okay, we killed a few people in one night. That's good. That's good, but I don't know if it'll please the Dark Lord, right? So then you go, what if we put a little disc on every mask? Then they don't even have to kill people. Their head just explodes into a bunch of poisonous insects, and then you know, they die, and then everybody dies, and then, you know, that way you can sacrifice a whole bunch of people, you know, for Halloween. So I think it was just a progression, perhaps. That's just, I mean, that's one of my theories. You know, and then of course the other thing that's possible too is that is it even the same person every time in the Michael Myers mask? You know, maybe he has always been transferring it to someone, or that entity has been transferring from one person to another person. You know, they have to just find a guy who's the same height, weight, and build. And I don't like it when they show his eyes. Like, why do they keep showing his eyes? He's the blackest eyes. Just don't show his eyes. Don't put anything in those eye holes, for my money. Anyway, how was that, Sally?
Wow, and this is why I have an actual expert on my show. We now know fan theory attempts to explain that Michael Myers masks were a beta test of the ones seen in Halloween 3. Well, the masks never seem to kill Michael. Instead, they kind of mess with his head and drive him insane. The clown mask and the infamous mask Michael Myers wears after escaping from Smith's Grove are both Silver Shamrock products. And Michael Myers' reverse Shatner mask seemingly makes him immortal. Well, that might explain why he has proven to be so darn tricky to defeat and kill. And I'm sure his crimes didn't go unnoticed. The Silver Shamrock cult leaders had to have taken note of their effects and the beta tests had on Michael. And they must have returned to the drawing board and kept working until they made the ones shown in Halloween 3.
I want a mask. Can I have a mask?
Ah, just what I had in mind for you, little buddy.
I want that one.
Yeah. Oh, no. Look over here. Those masks haven't been through final processing. This one has.
Whoa.
There you are. Wonderful.
All right, look, it's not that crazy of a theory, and it would explain a lot about what drove Michael to start killing and how he's seemingly unkillable.
Meow, 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 meow.
Yeah, I said shared universe. Actually, it's more like a multiverse. And when Halloween 3, we have a wacky warlock hell-bent on killing all the wee fleshies, possibly connecting a portal to resurrecting ancient pagan rituals associated with Samhain from his native Celtic lands. Well, is this a direct pipeline to the old witches in an ancient world via a bunch of even older stone bits? Well, we don't know because we don't have a follow-up to Halloween 3. We can assume that what Cochran wanted to do is open an evil portal between the old world and the new. Oh, and you fleshies looking for Michael Myers in Halloween 3? Well, you just didn't look hard enough. He may not have been the film's main villain, but Michael's there. In the scene where Shelley is waiting at the bar for Ellie Grimbridge, Ellie's father died while trying to escape Cochran. Shelley asked the bartender to change the channel on a nearby TV, only to have the barman stop at a commercial showing footage of the first Halloween movie. Well, later when Cochran captures Shelley and forces him to wear a mask to be killed at 9 p.m., another commercial featuring the movie's iconic theme music and images of both Michael Myers and actress Jamie Lee Curtis play on a TV. And fun fact, Curtis herself can also be heard as the voice of the phone operator that Shelley calls to get the screening and in Cochran's commercials.
Operator, can you get me the sheriff?
Well, at least Halloween had the foresight to acknowledge its roots. It creatively wove together iconography and scenes of its mythology, and had it continued, it would have been hugely successful. And in a way, if you think about it, Halloween 3's concept predates the shared universe of huge Hollywood franchises like the Marvel Comic Universe, way before there was a Marvel Comic Universe to watch in theaters. Well, if you think about it, it's kind of a tragic loss. Hey, Mr. Lobo, it's your turn.
Oh, yeah, right. So we're talking about fan theories. You know, a lot of people felt like, well, you know, we didn't see sci-fi coming. You know, I think they were prepping us from sci-fi for the very first movie. They had the William Shatner mask. They're all watching Forbidden Planet. They're telling us that they want to take it in a sci-fi direction with that second movie. And Sally was talking about Jamie Lee Curtis being the voice of the operator. She was the voice of the whole darn town of Santa Mira. They have that whole time for Teletubby bye-bye, you know, announcements telling people to go to bed and what time the curfew is and to look out for strangers, and all that stuff is all Jamie Lee Curtis. Very similar to the voice that Jamie Lee Curtis did for John Carpenter in Escape from New York, when we're telling Snake Plissken to follow the orange line when he's walking through the prison, and she's doing the voiceover in that too. So there's almost a company of players that they probably would have kept using people from the different movies over and over again in the anthology concept. And speaking of actresses in the film, I got to work with Stacey Nelkin at the Alamo Drafthouse. We were championing, people like Sally and I, championing Halloween 3. We were showing Halloween 3 at the Alamo Drafthouse, and after I gave my speech pleading with people to give the movie another chance, I try to leave, and Stacey Nelkin's coming along with me. Stacey, what are you doing? It's like, well, I've seen this movie before. And it's like, yeah, but have you seen it with an audience lately? Because I feel like the worm has really turned on this. And I know you feel like this film was a bomb, but, you know, this film has been championed by a lot of people, and a lot of people really appreciate it now. And you know, you were Woody Allen's protege, and you all of these important actors in New York telling you what's good movies and what's bad movies. Halloween is a misunderstood movie, you know, but she's got a lot of regrets in her career, and one of those regrets is that she was originally cast in Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, and she was the 5th replicant. There's a line in the movie where they talk about 5 replicants escaping, and we were always wondering where that 5th replicant is. Well, originally there were 5, and Stacey Nelkin was one of the 5. But unfortunately, all of the smoke on set just made her cough hysterically, and they just kind of gave all her lines to Daryl Hannah, and she was dropped from the film. So I think there was a lot of regret that she never got to be the missing android. Well, if you're looking for the 5th replicant or the 5th android from Blade Runner, all you need to do is move over to Halloween 3 and watch Halloween 3 with that in mind. Spoilers if you haven't already seen it. Stacey Nelkin is a cyborg in Halloween 3, so I feel like she did get to play the 5th replicant after all, if you want to connect all your movies in a multiverse. Anyway, back to you, Sally.
Well, hey, I think I'm getting the hang of this. Oh, and Halloween is shown as a movie within Scream, and its sequel, Scream 2, is shown as a movie within Halloween 20 years later, further strengthening the idea of the concept of a Halloween multiverse. Oh, and just imagine what the Halloween-verse could have been like had the anthology idea taken off. This Twilight Zone-esque series could have been endless, yet most of the fleshies wanted a mute masked monster returning to kill again and again for increasingly strange reasons. Well, don't worry, Carpenter is finally okay with Michael Myers in the Halloween direction and, oh, of course, all that coin.
Halloween Ends, the next Halloween movie.
And is that Blumhouse?
Do not believe for a minute it's going to end.
Oh, of course not.
For a minute.
It never ended. It's been 40 years. It just keeps going.
The money. It's all about that money coming in.
No, wait, I have one more. Yet another theory suggests that during Cochran's death scene, a magical stone room particle appears to disintegrate him. Well, that's not what happened. In fact, Cochran wasn't killed. He was merely transported by the magical stone bit into a new universe that just so happens to be the universe where the events of the 2018 film transpire, supposedly picking up from the original Halloween, because now all the other Halloween movies no longer matter. Anyway, how's that for a shared multi-universe? All right, Mr. Lobo, your turn.
Really, Sally? I mean, are we almost done yet? Because I need to go, you know? I just can't stay here anymore. If I'm gone for too long, Miss Mittens gets quite irate.
Not yet.
All right.
Help. What was that?
Just yawning. Help. All right. Okay. Well, you know, something that I think with Halloween 3, those of you who maybe want to give it another chance, I think that Halloween has a certain power. It has a certain particle. It has a certain magic to it on the small screen because it's about television, you know. So watching it on your TV on a dark night might change your perspective on it because you know, I think that it's a great commentary about how television has dominated modern culture. So that's a little extra there for you, and you know, again, give Halloween 3 a chance. You know, let it season your holiday and not your food.
Now, for years, the masked mutant Michael Myers took bunches of bullets to his body, skillions of stab wounds, lit on fire more times than the Olympic torch, and all sorts of painful punishment, yet he always manages to come back unharmed, but quietly angrier. How is this possible? The crux of this argument goes back to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch and the Silver Shamrock Company's creation of that strange cyborg-like assassins for reasons unrelated to the movie. This standalone one-off isn't obviously connected to other movies in the franchise, but the cyborg theory makes it so all Halloween films exist firmly in the same universe. And let's revisit the Blankenship, shall we? There's Mrs. Blankenship from the 6th film, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Mrs. Blankenship revealed to have been the one who actually was babysitting Michael the night he killed his sister Judith, when he was a young boy. She's also a member of the weird cult that put a curse on Michael as a child, which is arguably where the franchise really goes off the rails. The members of this cult believe as long as Michael is alive, they won't die. Halloween 6. It's the movie that keeps on giving.
Spirits and powers of the flame, attend and witness this ritual. Bear our gifts to Thorn. Open us to the path of darkness. By these runes, transform us.
Oh, and let's not forget a character named Harry Grimbridge from Halloween 3. Harry actually encounters the Silver Shamrock robots and drops the name Minnie Blankenship, as in Mrs. Blankenship, at one point during the movie. And while Harry is on his way to meet Mrs. Blankenship, he eventually gets his eyes gouged out by those strange cyborg-like fleshies from Silver Shamrock, once again placing all the movies in the same universe.
Meow meow.
Yeah, I'm not done. So, in essence, the theory is the cult was in cahoots with the Silver Shamrock Company, and they had the company resurrect Michael Myers as a cyborg of sorts, which is why he can't die. And this is good news for the cult of Thorn and Cochran.
Meow 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 meow.
What do you mean you need more evidence? Well, okay. In Halloween 3, when one robot dies, yellow goo can be seen dripping from his eyes. And in Halloween 6, Michael Myers has his face beaten by Paul Rudd's character, and a similar-looking yellow liquid goo can be seen pouring out from his mask. Well, wouldn't he bleed actual blood if he was just a fleshy? Well, not if he was a cyborg created by Silver Shamrock. Think about it.
All right, well, I think, you say the word cyborg. I mean, I think of half human, half robot, but honestly, the stuff that made by the Silver Shamrock Corporation, they started making clocks back in the old country. These are clockwork creations. These are automatons. These are mechanical men. And I think that they're mechanical men powered by magic. So there isn't any sort of sense to how they work as far as in a normal sense. I remember the first time when they got punched in Halloween 3 and all that weird yellow stuff. I thought it was eggs when I first saw it. But it's actually, I'm thinking probably some kind of hydraulic fluid to just sort of keep all the gears working inside of them. But I think that honestly, once one of them drops, they just replace it with another one or something, or I don't know. Are we done yet? Can I go home now?
Nope.
All right. How long have you been here?
Now, until this point, I'm good with the cyborg theory. But along comes Halloween Kills, and Laurie Strode shoots a couple of Michael's digits off his hand. Well, he bleeds blood. This makes me question the cyborg theory. And now I have to lean hard on the mask made by the Silver Shamrock Company that possesses the power to keep Michael alive. Or maybe has yellow goo and blood at the same time. Well, let me table that thought for a moment. Hey, Lobo, what are your thoughts? I'm starting to lose my train of thought. I'm starving!
Hey, Sally, are you okay? I mean, you look a little paler than usual. Do you want me to call you a Zuber and maybe place a fleshy order for you?
No, I'm good. I have something in the studio to tide me over until breakfast. Just say something. Say words.
Say words? You want me to talk now? Yeah, I guess I could talk a little bit about Halloween Kills, I guess. I mean, evil dies tonight. Can this die tonight? Can we be finished here? I'm kind of getting tired of this.
Just sit tight, Mr. Lobo. I'm almost done with you.
Almost done? What does that mean?
Oh, anyway. So Halloween Ends is supposedly set to put the iconic horror franchise to bed, at least for now. Picking up where the 2018 Halloween reboot left off, a direct sequel to the original movie, Halloween Ends will likely have all kinds of references and homages to previous films in the series. One of them may be a forgotten Halloween movie that has nothing to do with Michael Myers.
We don't decide these things, you know. The planets do.
Again, fan theory suggests that the supposed non-canon season of The Witch is the reason for Michael's evil. And we may finally get some answers from Ends. Or maybe more questions, but I don't want to go too far into Halloween Ends. It's too new and I don't want to give away spoilers. So, is the mask cursed? That might explain why Myers is a violent killer, seemingly driven mad by his magic mask. Backing up this theory is a scene in 2018's Halloween where podcasters taunt Michael by holding up his mask. As the mask is held up, the prisoners around Michael go into a frenzy, suggesting that the mask is a demonic or cursed object. Think about it.
You feel the mask.
Oh, and it's worth pointing out in the 2018 Halloween film and later in Halloween Kills, a group of trick-or-treaters are shown wearing the iconic masks used in Halloween 3. But don't worry, I'm sure those masks are safe and evil Stonehenge particulate free. So if you think about it, Halloween 3 is actually a fun sci-fi thriller. The ridiculously high concept idea of pairing sci-fi with horror and turning it into a story about killer robots, magical masks powered by Stonehenge bits used to terrify the world with exploding kid bug bombs in some twisted Celtic Samhain festival that only fleshies from Summerisle could appreciate.
Oh my God!
Stop that! Look, a lot of positive things are going on for Halloween 3. The acting is solid, and the script is good, even though Neil insisted they take his name off after Wallace changed the script. Well, the special effects are decent for the most part. You have to admit, at the very least, Halloween 3 is an enjoyably goofy movie. And most importantly, the Silver Shamrock jingle, conceived and performed by Wallace, well, it's annoyingly catchy, creepy, and weirdly unsettling, and by the billionth time the film plays it, it has become an earworm firmly lodged into the audience's brain. Brains.
Meow.
Oh, sorry about that. The jingle also creates a real sense of urgency in the film. Each time the jingle plays, the countdown draws closer to 0 hours. Pure Halloween 3 magic. Well, sadly, the movie tanked initially, and that's because it was seen as anti-children, anti-capitalism, anti-television, and anti-Irish, all at the same time. Even Roger Ebert gave it 1.5 stars and labeled it as a low-rent thriller from the first frame. And audiences didn't show up, making Halloween 3 the second lowest grossing film in the extended franchise. Well, yes, Skellycat, there is one other Halloween film that is worse off than Halloween 3. I wonder which one. Now, we all know Halloween 3 is a source of a great divide among fans of John Carpenter's Halloween series. It's the first film in an anthology that never was. Or was it? Well, I think Halloween 3 is finally getting its continuation in the form of an Indiegogo-funded fan-created sequel titled The Third Channel. But we'll see if it actually happens.
It's 6 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. Curfew. Curfew. All residents of Santa Mira, please clear the street. Curfew is now in effect.
It's still Halloween, Halloween.
Now, the film should be written, directed, and produced by Michelle Blansky, and it'll star Heather Beck, Brandon Crum, Heather Harlow, Daniel Lund, and Saskia Bauer. And according to the film's IMDb page, the movie will also feature Brad Schacter, who played Little Buddy in the original movie. Now, the film will also feature a score by Keith McCoy. The third channel is set to be filmed in the exact location as its predecessor, Lolita, California. And the film is expected to be released in October 2022, just in time for Halloween 3's 40th anniversary. Well, that's now. Well, we'll see. Sure, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is considered the redheaded stepchild of the Halloween franchise, but let us not forget the time when Busta Rhymes lets out a Bruce Lee screech and Spin kicks Michael Myers in a kisser, and all of a sudden Halloween 3 doesn't look so bad now, does it?
I gotta get out of here. Sally! Sally, it's time to go, okay? Or can we be done with this, Sally? Sally! Oh, Sally, I thought you were over there somewhere. Don't look at me like that, Sally. You know, your breath is really not great. Sally, please, what are you doing? No! No! Stop! Oh! Ow! Ow! Ouch! Owie!
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the horror-thon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.